At the moment, 50% of all plastic that is produced is used only once. On average, single-use plastic items are in the hands of a user for just 15 minutes before they are thrown away. These objects, which can take decades to decompose, have a hugely negative impact on our environment. Founded in 2020, Equo provides plastic alternatives made from materials like coffee, coconut, and sugarcane. Its goal is to replace all single-use plastics with sustainable alternatives. So Marina, you started Equo inside Techstars. How was the Techstars experience?
It was probably the best thing that has ever happened to our startup. When I entered the program, I had no idea about angel investing or about the startup community at all. I was really well welcomed into the program. They taught us a lot of, I think, foundational skills and learnings about how to raise money, how to operate a startup, how to get the right people into your company as well. So it was an amazing experience.
And what gave you the inspiration for Equo?
The biggest inspiration for me was my nephew. At the time when I was thinking about Equo and the idea around it, and I was in Vietnam and seeing all these really great innovations around sustainability, my nephew being born really helped kind of inspire me to, it inspired me to kind of move forward with it. And I was imagining kind of the world that he was going to grow up in.
Well, people think that this is a relatively easy thing to solve, eliminating single-use plastics. But in fact, it's a really complex problem. How do you explain it to people?
Single-use plastic is something that was never really meant to be around. 50% of all plastic produced is used only once and used on average for 15 to 20 minutes or less and then thrown away.
It's a shocking statistic.
Yeah, which is crazy. And then afterwards, when you think about what happens to it, it stays on the earth for hundreds of years before it can actually degrade. And it degrades into microplastics and things that get into our bodies and really affects the entire environment.
So what are the materials that Equo is using to break that cycle?
Grass, rice, coconut, sugarcane, and coffee. And the great thing about our products is they're actually using byproducts of other materials. So for example, we use used coffee grounds to create our products. We're really just trying to promote that circular economy and upcycling of materials for our straws and our utensils.
So Marina, what are the trade secrets to selecting those types of materials?
The fortunate thing is when I was in Vietnam and where I'm currently based right now, even though people see it as a developing country, there's a lot of innovation when it comes to sustainable materials. They're more available. A lot of these natural materials just kind of grow outside in your yard.
Like sugarcane is an example, coffee is an example.
Exactly. And so having access to these materials and being innovative with them is very easy for a lot of the locals. And so, for example, our rice straw is made from the rice water that comes from after you kind of soak the rice to be able to turn it into rice powder or for grains of rice. And a lot of people didn't want to waste it. Being in an environment like a developing country, they don't want to waste any sort of materials.
Right.
So they thought, okay, you know what can we do with this? And that's how the rice straw kind of came about.
But the cost is an issue. So single-use plastics are cheap. And there are subsidies in that whole ecosystem with fossil fuel companies, but they're still cheap, and consumers obviously are drawn to things that are the most cost effective, even when they have the best intentions. So how do you get the cost down of the rice straw or the sugar or sugarcane-based straw?
Plastic has been around for decades. It has had the opportunity to have economies of scale, have the demand kind of bring the cost down. That's the same thing with sustainable materials. If we have enough people giving our products and our materials a chance, we'll be able to eventually bring down that cost. So that's kind of one way. And then the second way I would kind of look at it is, there's the tangible physical cost that you see today. Yes, maybe a plastic straw is, 1/10 of a cent today, right? But the cost for disposing of it, the cost to our health, which we're seeing now, microplastics being found in lungs, in people's blood, in unborn fetuses. Seeing that right now, that's a healthcare cost, that's a disposal cost.
Environmental costs,
exactly.
Healthcare system costs.
All these costs that now make that plastic straw a lot more expensive than what people really initially think. Whereas the sustainable material, yes, it might be 3 cents or 5 cents for the straw right now, but afterwards you're not worrying about the same sort of disposal and healthcare costs that the plastic straw.
Right, the downstream costs are zero.
Absolutely, yeah.